Good morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning here. Oh, lovely and calm, a little bit overcast, but it's lovely. I love this time of the year. Uh, New starts, and for me, the most crucial part of the new start on a construction project is the tender list. Who's the builders? Where are they going to come from? Who's gathering them? Who's submitting them? In an ideal situation, I believe that is a cross-pollination between the architect, quantity surveyor, homeowner, and engineer. I'm doing one job in Connolly, and the engineer played vital role in securing services of a really good builder. And what was vital was he had done work 2 or 3 houses down. It was a Georgian restoration, refurbishment, very tricky, putting in steels to form ups, to open it up, tricky on the planning level, and the builder had done the same work, I think it was 3-4 houses down the road from, so with the same engineer. So certainly the engineer, ideal situation of matching experience with local knowledge, with trust from the engineer. Absolutely ideal situation. And so ideal, that guy is not available for a year. That says its own story. So, what I normally find is a cross mix works better. Takes away any biases, and takes away if one party is supplying the tender list or the bulk of them. What tends to happen is if that isn't a refreshed list, the tenderers begin over time to actually work out where the tenderers are landing, and they tend to price towards that. So that happens if it's a stale tender list from predominantly one party. If it is from architects, I tend to find that their builders that they bring are solution driven, both for the architect and for themselves. So sometimes you can pretty much be guaranteed the quality is going to be brilliant, but the cost can be high. If it's brought from the homeowner, it's usually either somebody they know or it's a local builder. And I would certainly engage homeowners to engage in that process as early as possible, to start to talk to local builders, to start to talk to them about the project, to take the names driving around the neighbourhood. And you will find in certain neighbourhoods, guys are dominant in certain neighbourhoods. There's one builder I know, and he never leaves Knockline. The whole family, a couple of brothers, and they never leave the neighbourhood. So there is local guys. Local guys are really ideal and important, as long as they're verified and current works. And then there is the guys that the QS brings. And my experience is QSs, there's builders that I've done work for, one-off projects, price tenders for, haven't heard anything for them for a year or two, and then you hear about them again. I'm going to be doing a job up in Pine Valley, and there's a local builder there, so he's an ideal guy for that project. Absolutely ideal, because he does loads of work up in Rathfarnham in Pine Valley. So there is a matching element as well. Local is great. Take down the logo, start talking to them, start to talk to the homeowners. I know one client who left notes into the homeowners to ask to discuss the guys with them, even though they didn't know the homeowners. They left notes in with their personal contact details to talk about the builders, and that worked out very well. But I find in an ideal world, 5 or 6 tenders verified. The interest has to be verified. I did a job recently, very well renowned architect and very decent guy. And then the next thing, I asked him to put the tender list together. I asked him for builders, and he gave me 5 names. And I asked him, have all of these been verified? Are they all interested? And said, oh yeah. And I went and I rang them all. Not one of them was interested. Not a single one of them. Some of them hadn't even heard from the architect in a year or so. So all he was doing was just shoveling the information onto me. But if I'd sent them out on the tender list on the basis that they were verified, we wouldn't have got a single tender back in. So it has to be verified. I do believe that having relationships is hugely important with builders. Knowing them, knowing their capacity, knowing their workload, knowing their history, knowing them, their timelines, knowing their strategies about variations, knowing them personally, knowing their family histories, knowing their relationship with their workers, knowing their stance with the subcontractors. Do they use the same subcontractors all the time? That type of in-depth knowledge, usually only the architect or the quantity surveyor gets to know. The homeowner, on an ad hoc basis, apart from somebody they know in depth, it's hard to get that information. So that's my thoughts on putting the tender list together, guys.